the COVID-19 situation, we were not able to do these physical interaction when it comes to knowledge dissemination teaching. So all the institutions moved on to this online platform, basically using webinars, using Zoom conferences, LMS, things like that. So basically the library of Sri Lanka Technological Campus also initiated this kind of a webinar series that would actually give knowledge to LIS professionals. So our research is mainly focusing on whether this webinar as a platform is effective in disseminating knowledge. Because as I mentioned earlier, it's a new thing for us Sri Lankans. So actually what we did was seeing whether the people actually got what we actually delivered properly, effectively, and whether this platform was effective and whether we can use it continuously even after the COVID-19 situation goes away. I think Mr. Hasita can also add to the nature of the webinar series to get you more information regarding that.
Yes, Sachin, thank you very much.
Excuse
me,
me,
I continue? Yes.
Dr. Naresh?
Yes, hi.
Yeah. I'm Mrs. Manatunga. Can we officially start the session now?
Oh, you're
I think
here.
we are here. Yes.
Yeah, we were waiting here for the last 25 minutes.
Okay. So, welcome to the technical session 2C, which is based on effect of COVID-19 pandemic on libraries, which is a very timely topic. And I invite our co-chairs, Dr. Naresh Agrawal, Associate Professor from School of Library and Information Science, Simmons University, Boston, USA, and Mr. M. Rifauddin, from the librarian from South Asian Eastern University of Sri Lanka. So I invite you to take the session.
Thank you so much. And your name is
Yes.
Yeah, the mic is over to you, Dr. Naresh Agrawal.
Now, I was just trying to get her name. I missed
I'm
that.
Mrs. Manatunga, Kalpana.
Kalpana, okay. Yeah. Okay, yes, so Mr. Rifauddin, you want to say something first? I'll take over.
The mic is over to you. You can start then. Yeah.
So thank you. So thank you. Welcome everyone. I had a chance to go through all the abstracts submitted for this session. So it was really heartening to see all the good work that is being done in the various countries of South Asia to fight COVID-19 and how libraries and information centers are coming together in various regards, and the difficulties that some of us are facing in that. And so I think it's a good session looking at case studies in the COVID-19 context. So with that, we can start our first presentation by Sakina Ali Khan from the University of Colombo Library in Sri Lanka. So the topic of the presentation is library services in Sri Lanka during COVID-19. So Kalpana, we're going to play that for the first one.
Yes.
Hello everyone. Today presenting library services new normal in Sri Lanka during COVID-19 pandemic. In Sri Lanka, a nationwide curfew was imposed from 20th March due to the COVID-19 pandemic after identification the threat of spreading. The service of several public libraries and private institutions, including libraries, archives and museums, and library and information science teaching institutions were affected across Sri Lanka. The suddenly break services and teaching, library and information professionals started to think of new ways to provide the services, but it took another month to adapt new normal due to the several barriers. Finally, in April, after the lockdown of 1 month, safety guidelines specifically focused on libraries was published by the National Institute of Library and Information Science with collaboration with library professional organizations such as National Library Documentation Service Board of Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka National Archives, and Sri Lanka Library Association. Also, it converts all the teaching from the physical to online platform via LMS. Apart from that, several libraries and teaching institutes try to adapt to new normal and start working on it. For example, you take the National Library, they are publishing several circulars regarding COVID-19 safety and how to reopen the libraries step by steps. And also, they offer series of webinars and workshops, enhance library and information service in the COVID-19 crisis. And also, the collaboration of the Asian Foundation donated rupees 1 million worth of protective instrument and disinfectants for public libraries in Colombo district. Also, awareness programs about COVID-19 in the Facebook platform and its website. Further, academic libraries of Sri Lanka try to enhance their services. If you take the library network University of Colombo, from time to time, they change the mode of services based on the country situation. For example, from March to June, library services were offered via e-platform due to the nationwide curfew. It was partially open in June after curfew lifted and continues until mid-August. During this period, they offered blended services, which means with an e-platform provided to limited physical services. And after the start of the second wave of COVID-19 in October, again the library network University of Colombo offered their services via e-platform. Adapted to new normal, they are offering following services: content page services, helpline services, webinars via Zoom, libraries, YouTube channels, online tutorials, remote access to online databases, and scanned resources, etc. Now you see there are some other websites where awareness and services detailed regarding the COVID-19. Those websites belong to libraries and the teaching institutions. But there are, for example, if you take a library, University of California, they are now make awareness of the new variant coronavirus. Likewise, there are several sites they are saying regarding awareness program, and also they mention regarding their services during the COVID period. But still there are challenges to adapt to new normal. For example, if we take lack of electronic devices, language barriers, specifically lack of e-scholarly materials in local language, cost for data, poor data signals or no signals at all for remote areas users, lack of knowledge in electronic devices, lack of open source resources. For those challenges, we can continually mention. And we can remove or we can overcome those challenges if we work on collaboratively and achieve the new normal successfully. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Ali Khan. Second presenter will be Saurav Debnath from National Institute of Technology, India, and Bhakti Gala from Central University of Gujarat, India.
Present dignitaries of this symposium, chair of this session, and fellow professionals. I am going to present a report on library services in India during COVID-19. Library services across India were severely impacted in last year. First COVID-19 positive case in India was detected on 30th January for a student who returned Kerala from Wuhan. After another month, Ministry of Education circulated order for closing physical classes and evacuation of hostels as a precautionary measure to contain the spread. Positive cases were increasing. As a result, Government of India declared complete lockdown effective from 22nd March. Libraries also closed for physical access. Government was extending the lockdown in phased manner. From mid-April, virtual classes and examinations were conducted from remote. Public libraries started opening from June with limited capacity for users following a standard operating procedure mandated by Ministry of Home Affairs. If we mark the different events related to library services in last year on a timeline, its projection looks like closure of educational institutions from 16th March. Public libraries reopened from 1st June only for issue and return. Libraries opened reading area for users from September with 60% capacities. After 8 months of closure, the National Library of India reopened for users in the last week of November. And today, users are habituating in this new normal. For the last 10 months, libraries have taken blended ways of working for supporting educational and research institutions in this extrinsic challenging period. Factors such as lack of ICT infrastructure in rural areas, low bandwidth internet connectivity, economic disparity among different level of peoples in societies imposed barriers in providing access to educational related services. However, libraries from premier educational institutes kept their services floating through online mode and provided remote access to its subscribed contents. Reputed publishers lifted access restrictions for limited times. The National Digital Library of India created COVID-19 research repository which is freely available to everyone. For the instant communication, AMS team and the library chair came as a rescue option for the library professionals. Allies professions witnessed a plethora of webinars from libraries sharing their narratives in responding to this crisis situation. There have been many inspirational stories from allies professionals who demonstrated their skills and desire to serve users by adopting technology to reach out to their users. Even incidents like scanning study materials and sharing through WhatsApp have been reported. Users are acclimatizing in this new normal and we are hoping for a better tomorrow. These are the references we have gone through to prepare this report. Thank you.
Thank you. The third presentation will be done by KADAD Gunaratna and Udita Alahakon from National Institute of Library and Information Sciences, University of Colombo.
My topic My topic is the emergence of a new library culture during COVID-19 pandemic. Case study of public libraries of Colombo district. Informed citizens are an essential factor of a democratic society. According to internationally recognized policies, public libraries have a responsibility to promote democratic society. You can see what the purposes of the public library are. The primary purposes of the public library are to provide resources and services in a variety of media to meet the needs of individuals and groups for education, information, and personal development, including recreation and leisure. They have an important role in the development and maintenance of a democratic society by giving the individual access to a wide and varied range of knowledge, ideas, and opinions. According to philosopher Marshall, citizenship covered with civil, political and social rights, and government has a responsibility to confirmation of citizenship. Government consists of different sectors in society, and public library is one such sector which is strongly related to local government administration. Major role of public library is to improve the awareness of citizenship and aspects of citizenship of citizens. According to this background, there is a relationship is between public library and democratic society. Major objective of the study is how public libraries fulfill their duties during the pandemic conditions to develop informed citizenry and adjust to the new normal. To continue this study, I used a sample survey method conducts this study. The total population of the study is public librarians of Sri Lanka. Sample was public librarians of Colombo district. I used a purposive or judgmental sample under non-probability sampling. Due to lockdown and COVID positive cases, I was unable to contact two public libraries. Questionnaires and interviews are main data collection tools of the study. 11 questionnaires were distributed among public libraries in Colombo district. In addition to, I have conducted interviews with selected librarians and social scientists, 5 by each category. Now I can gain your attention for the findings of the study. Lending sections were closed and reference services were provided with limited scale. Therefore, users were limited. Extension services were temporarily discontinued. Only a few libraries launched online services, but those services were not addressed for common citizens. It was revealed that the majorities of public libraries conduct programs such as online tuition classes, quiz programs, and children competitions. As a social institution, the role of the public library is a crucial factor for strengthening the democratic society. During the present COVID-19 pandemic situation, public libraries were unable to continue their normal information services to the customers. Therefore, it affected negatively to the relationship between public libraries and citizens. Therefore, it is recommended that public librarians must focus their attention to initiate innovative and alternative activities related to information provision to strengthen the democracy during the new normal. Should provide necessity training opportunities of online services for both users and library personnel. There is my references. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ratna. The next presentation will be done by Mohammad Yusuf Ali from the Faculty of Health Sciences, Aga Khan University, Pakistan, Salman bin Naim and Rubina Bati from the Department of Library and Information Sciences, the Islamia University, Pakistan.
Hello, I'm Mohammad Yusuf Ali, PhD scholar and associate librarian from Aga Khan University, Karachi, Pakistan. Greeting and welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening as per your time zone. I welcome you all in this online session of National Symposium. I'm very thankful to the National Institute of Library and Information Science, University of Colombo. Let's move to the PowerPoint slide. Study topic. Social media usage during the isolation of COVID-19 infected patient in Karachi, Pakistan, an overview. This is a collaborative work along with my co-authors, Dr. Salman bin Naim, Associate Professor, and Professor Dr. Robina Bhatti. A scheme of presentation. Human infected with the severe acute respiratory syndrome is known as a coronavirus. Social media. Social media is a one of the powerful tools to transmit the message in a shape of post, images, voice messages, video, and etc. Here is the statistics. You can see that the COVID status in Pakistan, few international local literature available related to COVID and social media discussed here. International literature. Mental health and disorder risk factor in quartile adults during the COVID-19 breakout in China, a cross-sectional study discussed by the Gao and others. Detailed literature review you can see on the reference segment of this presentation. Objective of the study. This study has following objectives. Number one, to determine the social media usage during the quarantine period. Number two, to know the perception of respondent during the quarantine about the social media messages post. And number three, basis on the gender, which male or female are the most actively participates on the social media. Research, questions, and hypotheses. Number one, which social media platform respondents are used during the quarantine? Research question number two, what are the main purpose of the social media during the quarantine? And question number three, what are the perception of the user use social media during the quarantine? A hypothesis, there is a no significant difference on gender-wise, male and female respondent equally participate and use the social media during the quarantine. Methodology, research method, self-exploratory and descriptive study. This study is a survey research design and population infected personnel of the COVID who is spent quarantine period of 7 to 14 days. Sample techniques. Snowball sample techniques is used to conduct this study. Data collection and analysis. Data was collected through online survey and questionnaire is the research tool. Online questionnaire flowed from 16 to 31st August December 2020. Sample and descriptive studies are present and an inferential t-test is used well for the demographical information. Slide number 13 for the social media platform used by the respondent. Slide number 14 for the social media video-based platform used by the respondent during the quarantine. Slide number 14 for the purpose of use of social media during the quarantine. Slide number 15, purpose use of social media during the quarantine. Slide number 16, purpose of perception of respondent when they use the social media during the quarantine. And slide number 17, about the hypothesis result. Conclusion. The result of these studies are shows that a quarantine or isolation period, COVID patients are used social media to connect with their family and friends. COVID-related negative and fake news messages make negative impact and increase their mental and anxiety and stress. Respondents also report they use social media to read the public health awareness messages related to COVID and disseminate it accordingly. Quarantine period respondents are rely on the authentic source of information. Last but not least, respondent request, please share only authentic and reliable information for social media platforms. Here is the references or literature used for this study. Thanks for watching till the end, and you can connect with me if you have any query about this study.
Thank you. The next presentation will be by MDR Sachinta from the Department of Social Sciences, Sabaragamu University of Sri Lanka, H. Koralage and PWASD Ransara from the Library Sri Lanka Technological Campus.
Good day to you all. My name is MDR Sachinta from Department of Social Sciences, Sabaragamu University of Sri Lanka. Today, I'm going to present our research on effectiveness of webinars in disseminating knowledge and information among library and information science professionals, researchers, and knowledge seekers during the COVID-19 pandemic in Sri Lanka. This research was co-authored by Mr. H. Koralage and Mr. PWASD Ransara from Library Sri Lanka Technological Campus. Introduction. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, countrywide lockdowns and mandatory social distancing was imposed in the society all around the world. This was also observed in the Sri Lankan context. Due to this, KI seekers were faced with limitations when they access to physical knowledge and information sources. This was also faced by the library information science KI seekers. A lot of institutions, with the objective of disseminating KI, adopted various digital-based modes to achieve their objectives in this pandemic situation. And among them, webinars were also one of the synchronous modes that they used. And it is considered that synchronous modes are more effective than asynchronous modes of transferring knowledge in a digital environment. In this situation, SLTC Library also conducted a series of webinars with the objective of addressing the KI needs of the LIS professionals. This research is mainly focused on this series of webinars conducted by the SLTC. The problem statement of this research is our webinars are effective in disseminating knowledge and information during the COVID-19 pandemic in Sri Lanka. Based on this problem statement, we have developed research questions and research objectives as seen in this particular slide. Methodology. This study uses a convergent parallel mix method. Therefore, both quantitative and qualitative data was gathered simultaneously and analyzed separately and converged in the end to come up with a conclusive conclusion. It analyzes 3 out of 9 webinars conducted by the SLTC. Quantitative data was gathered using a structured questionnaire from 96 participants, while qualitative data were gathered using 3 case studies. Quantitative data was analyzed by descriptive statistics, while thematic analysis was used to analyze the qualitative data, and it was analyzed under 8 sub-themes, which was divided under 2 main themes, namely quality of the content delivered and competency of the resource person. Analysis and findings. Quantitative analysis shows that 67% were highly satisfied with the overall satisfaction of the webinar. 66% was highly satisfied with the content of the webinar, as well as 60% was highly satisfied with the presenter of the webinar. With these quantitative findings in mind, we moved on to the qualitative analysis. The qualitative analysis showed that the webinars has both positive and negative aspects. The positive aspects was international resource persons and the minimum cost. The negative aspect was the lack of familiarity, technological issues, and language barriers. With this in mind, we were able to conclude that even though there were several shortcomings in this particular series of webinars, it was able to effectively cater both international and local KI seekers. Therefore, we can finally say that even though webinars are not a 100% replacement for physical interaction, during these situations where social distancing is mandatory, we can use webinars as an alternative method until the normalcy in the society is restored. These are the key references. Thank you.
Thank you. The next presentation will be done by V. Alagaratnam from the Library General Sir John Kothalawala Defence University and V. Inpamohan from the Department of Fine Arts, Eastern University, Sri Lanka.
The title of the study is Impact of Zoom in Information Sharing During the COVID-19 Pandemic, a case study. I am the presenter, V. Alagaratnam from the Library Kothalawala Defence University, and the co-author is Dr. Inpamohan, Department of Fine Arts, Eastern University, Sri Lanka. The presentation of the study consisted of 5 sections. They are introduction, objectives, methodology, results and discussion, and finally the conclusion. Introduction. As we know that whatever the sudden change in occurred in that normal trend, that will affect the end result of any activities. Normally, universities have traditional classroom teaching practices and face-to-face practical activities. These are the common in any university teaching practices. But from the March, there was a very crucial issue is COVID-19 pandemic. This infectious disease led the university system to change their mode of teaching into virtual form. So most of the universities are using Zoom as a teaching mode. This study attempted to reveal the real effect of virtual learning using Zoom among the fine arts students of Eastern University of 4 batches. This study was carried out under the 3 main objectives. They are to reveal the status of lecturing via Zoom, what is happening actually while teaching by using this video conferencing app. And to second objective is to reveal whether the technological capacity is sufficient to proceed this lecturing method in an efficient way. And finally, this study attempted to suggest alternative ways to teach practical oriented subjects in the present situation. Adapted research method. Quantitative research design was adapted. We formulated close-ended questions to get the data. The total study population was 97 fine arts students in all 4 batches from first year to final year. Judgmental sampling technique was employed based on this student population, study population. The data were entered in a Microsoft Excel sheet and data were analyzed quantitatively. Results and discussion. The total respondents expressed that it was unsuitable system for their studies as they are doing practical oriented studies. It was found that more than 98% of students are using smartphone for their lectures. Very few are using the desktops or laptops. They face technological and unsuitable home environmental problem in virtual learning. They have followed an ineffective involvement in learning according to the situation of the technological advancement. All the students expressed that they had disliked the system as they were doing practical oriented subject. This virtual teaching mode is not sufficient entity for student entire learning process. It is this result obtained from their data. Alternative must be taught to considering the guidelines. The reasons are the student population is very less in for all 4 batches. Most of the students are from the same district where the university is located. The coastal facility in the university is sufficient to accommodate them following the health guidelines, so that it is convenient to hold traditional classroom practices. Practical oriented teaching must be carried out by face-to-face learning in the university, even this current.
Thank you. The next presentation will be done by WWST Varnasurya from the Department of Library and Information Sciences, University of Kelaniya.
Significance of entrepreneurship in COVID-19 pandemic, an exploratory study in Sri Lankan perspective. infopreneurship, it's a combined word, information and entrepreneurship, and then it's become infopreneurship. This is a concept driven by profit-generating strategy via online delivery to fulfill the needs of information seekers. The objective of this study was to gain and spread an understanding on infopreneurship and to emphasize its significance in this pandemic situation. When it comes to the methodology, there were two main areas, literature and document analysis. This was used to get one comprehension of the origination, nature, key areas, function, and its strategic value of the concept. Secondly, a self-defined framework was designed based on the strategic value of the concept, like economic, social, educational, and business perspective. And these values address the limitation and barriers faced in this pandemic. So it helps to validate the significance of the infopreneurship. When it comes to the major findings under comprehension of infopreneurship, Harold F. Wheatson has registered infopreneur as a trademark in 1984. So this is the first usage of this terminology in commerce. In this profit-oriented complex approach, some products should be in the form of ideas to sell. And also other people's ideas should be in a package form in order to unleash. And further, the infopreneur should have the ability to answer user needs via online platform. And when we consider about similarities in between librarianship and infopreneurship, six steps of the process demonstrate the similarities in between those two, like leveraging and customizing information, facilitating access to information, speeding up the flow of information, repackaging information, and also around the clock delivery information. When we talk about the being a vendor in this digital world, an infopreneur should have many skills such as good planning, problem solving, decision making, initiation, like that. And also the qualities like information conscious and reliable, confident, and producing quality works, and having one clear vision and mission, and so on. And also, a change is a must, and risks should be accepted in this business-oriented profit-gaining approach. When we think about the major findings under the category of significance of infopreneurship, this concept actually addresses rising issue of unemployment in this pandemic. And further, this assures social distance and work from home concept. And the other hand, this is a profit generating strategy via online delivery. And also this gives opportunity for skill development in with technology, managerial and business activities, research and publication, like that. In an information-driven society, especially busy people struggle to keep up with the information flow. So I suggest that this is a solution with many plus points. In conclusion and recommendations, actually I want to say only a primitive attention has been given into this concept in Sri Lanka. Therefore, this is yet a conceptual solution. But when we concern in the significant, it's a timely applicable strategy. And also, to implement this concept in Sri Lanka, measures should be taken in the curriculum development on the concept of infopreneurship. So these are the references, and thank you.
Thank you. Now we move to the last presentation of this session, done by H.U.G.S. Kumara and N.T. Vijay Sundara from the Library, University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, Sri Lanka.
Disaster management in libraries during 2005 to 2020. an overview based on the Emerald database. HUCS Kumar and N.D. Vijayasundara, University of Sri Jayawardhanapura. Presentation overview, introduction, research problem, objective, methodology, results, conclusion, recommendations, and references. Introduction. Disaster management is a very important aspect for every library. It helps to protect physical and human resources in libraries. The International Federation of Library Associations and Institutions IFLA described that library disasters are serious problems faced by the libraries in the world. Eden and Matthew 1906 defined that library disaster is an incident which burden human safety and damage a library's building, collections, equipment, systems, activities, and services. Problem statement. Since there are different types of disasters, it is important to identify them according to their origin and to categorize them in order to do proper disaster management planning. Objective. Main objective of this study is to identify the category of disasters faced by the libraries globally during 2005 to 2020. Research methodology. Reviewing literature is the adopted methodology. Secondary data was used by the study. Data was collected from the publication available in the Emerald database limiting the time period from 2005 to 2020. Sample size. There were 1,717 journal articles. 47 topic-related articles were used by the study. Advanced search techniques were used to select the most related journal articles. Keywords include were disaster management, tsunami, flood, fire, hurricanes, earthquake, COVID-19, natural disasters, man-made disasters, hybrid disasters, along with the term libraries. Result. Figure 1. Category of disasters faced by the libraries during 2005 to 2020. 72% point natural disasters were faced by the libraries. 14% point man-made disasters were faced by the library, and also 14% point hybrid disasters were faced by the libraries. Figure 2. Different disasters faced by the libraries. Tsunami, 22% point faced by the libraries. Hurricane, 22% point faced by the library. Flood, 14% point faced by the libraries. Earthquake, 14% point faced by the libraries. Accident, 7% faced by the libraries. Human intervention, 7% faced by the libraries. COVID-19, 14% point faced by the libraries. Conclusion. Highest occurrence can be seen in the category of natural disasters. Occurrence of man-made and hybrid disasters are comparatively low. Recommendations. To expand this study covering many literature sources, not depending on a single sources or single publisher. To expand the period which cover research studies before 2005 as well. These are the references that used by the study. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kumara. And now we have done all the presentation in this session. And I invite Dr. Naresh and Mr. Faudine to take over the Q&A session. So you will have 10 minutes for the Q&A session. Excuse me, a kind request. Could you please switch on your video so that we can have a official snapshot of the session during the Q&A session? Thank you.
Yeah. We are both co-author and presenter here. Come here closer.
Can we see more people here? We have more people than those on the screen.
Dr. Naresh, we can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Yeah. Now it's okay.
But my screen only shows 9 people. Can we see, like, is there a way to see more people on the screen? Is there a way to see? I think there's somebody sharing the screen, is it?
Yes. Yeah.
Varna Surya Trishala is sharing the screen, is it?
Yes, now we can start the Q&A session. While it's proceeding, we will take the snapshot.
Okay. So are there questions from people? And if you have questions, please turn on your mic and then speak. And the questions could be for any of the 8 presentations.
Excuse me, I'm Nayana Vijayasundara. Can I pose a question?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah, this is for the study done by Sachin Tan, Koralage, and Ran Sire. Actually, I saw some positive aspects of webinars and negative aspects of webinars. I fully agree with you. But did you have any open-ended question to grab the other ideas as well? Because nowadays we are overloaded with webinars. Because of that, sometimes we miss very important webinars. So what is the idea of that, please?
Basically, now if we had both quantitative and qualitative data collected. For the quantitative part, basically we use structured close-ended questions. However, for the 3 case studies, it was developed through unstructured, open-ended questions. So that's how we basically found out through the 3 case studies the positives and negative aspects of the webinar. So yes, as you mentioned, we have a lot of webinars nowadays conducted through a lot of institutions. So I do agree. What we gathered from that is, so we have to streamline the number of seminars that is conducted through webinar format. And also before we conduct webinars, we have to have a chat with the resource person, especially if we are using international resource persons. So because there were special cases because the accents of some international resource persons were not understandable by the general audience. So even though the content was very good, it was not delivered effectively. So those kind of things were actually gathered from those case studies.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just have something to add to this, Sachin. So I just did 2 webinars for Pakistan recently last week, I think within the past month. And one of the things maybe I was thinking is that once you have a webinar is more like an event. You do an event, you have a planning event, you get speakers, and if people attend, and then you forget about it. Pretty much, right? So what can be done as a follow-up? So once you have some learning from a webinar, maybe some action-oriented task force can be done to either have a collaboration on a research or some other practical item from it, rather than just taking it as a way for a listening session. If people had to do some work post the webinar, then I think they would listen much more carefully.
Yes, 100% agree. Yes.
So any other, so thank you, Sachinta, and I didn't get your name. I think it says Naya now when you asked the question. Thanks for your question. Yeah. So other questions for the presenters, and you can switch on your mics and then speak when you have questions. So I think while people that are thinking of questions, one question that I sorry, is anyone have a question?
Naresh, it's me, Rohan. Actually, I was thinking now we are having a final session on to discuss about the way forward. So before that, there are some panelists there. But before that, this is a specific session for COVID-19 research. So what is the opinion of the presenters on the way forward? Because you have done some research on what you are doing, and in future, yes, one thing is, as you said, yes, the action-oriented webinars and follow-up strategies, follow-up actions is one thing that we can do related to webinars. The other things, what are the things that you think as presenters, as the researchers, that we should be doing?
That's a great question, Rohan. So in terms of way forward, so I think some of you have had recommendations in the last slides or show, or last or second last slide. So do you have anything more than that?
Yeah, that we have done a research about our virtual teaching only, but I have heard that I am a library professional, so that we have to concentrate more on that library services during the COVID-19. Maybe that problem may be increased. So even I am working in a library, so that services are restricted. So we can do some researches on how can that way to propose something to new rent. That is my personal opinion.
Any other responses from other presenters? Yusuf Ali, I think you are muted. You're muted. We cannot hear you. Okay, I think Yusuf has a mic issue, I think. And other people, in the meanwhile, while he fixes the mic. Saurav? Something that you all did not present, maybe because this is a chance to go further than what you had in your presentations.
Okay.
from the Indian perspective, what we have achieved that for the public libraries, they have faced many more challenges because due to the physical restrictions in the reading area of public library, users wanted to come to the library, but due to the Ministry of Home Affairs restriction over the services and the physical contact from the library side could have reached to the users, like with the sanitization when the books are being returned. 3 days we have done the quarantine of the books, and then before the reshelving also, the sanitization process has been done. Some of the libraries, they have adopted like the ultraviolet quarantine kind of sanitization procedure. And some of the state public libraries, they have a very good digital platform. Like the Tamil Nadu state government public libraries, they had opened much more early. So if that same procedure can be followed into some other parts as well as some other parts of the world, I think the new normal will be much more easier for the users.
So basically, you're talking about 3 days?
I want to make up some Sri Lanka point of view. In Sri Lanka, in public libraries, what they do, recently, that means we are suffering from the second wave. So since closing down now, partially open the most of the public libraries and make the appointment. For example, if user need, especially they open the reference section, make the appointment and book previously before they visit the library, because they open for the students, O-level, A-level students. They come and study, but they need to take the pre-appointment. Based on their space, we divide the section and they provide the space for them. And also they provide the lending services that also limited, but they close the periodical. So I just want to mention the Sri Lanka situation of the public libraries.
Thank you. Thank you, Sakina.
So if we have done all the questions, Dr. Naresh and Mr. Rifaudin, can we conclude the session?
Yes,
Yeah,
I think
yes,
we
yeah.
can, and we did have a pre-session discussion as well while we were waiting. So we had
yes.
some discussion earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you
And
so
I
much
kindly-
everyone for connecting from all various
Yeah.
countries and in different time zones.
And
And,
I
also
kindly
for all your hard work in coping with the COVID crisis.
Yeah, I would like to thank Dr. Ruan, co-chair of the symposium and organizing committee, and the Dr. Naresh Agrawal joined from USA, and all the paper presenters and the participants. With everybody's support, we were able to conduct the sessions successfully. Thank you.
Thank you, Rowan.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And
thank you,
I,
Mr.
yes,
Rifaudin.
kindly request you to fill the Google form, and you
Thank
can
you.
join the plenary session from the respective room. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Next section is open now.
Thank you.
Dr. Ruan, can we join the same link? Dr. Ruan?